Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affairs Analysis for 20th June 2020, and these are the couple of articles I'll be dealing today. The first article for the day is about migrant crisis. So it is titled What the Migrant Worker Needs. So this article is about paying attention to the condition of the migrant workers that caught our attention amid lockdown situation that we have witnessed in the month of March, April and May. So this situation and this issue has wider implications for the economy, and this article is highlighting the need for formulating a program to deal with the migrants issue. So what are the issues with the migrant labor? Let us try to understand. If we take a look at our economic survey 2017, it says that 139 million seasonal or circular migrants are there in our country. If we take a look at the larger picture, out of the total labor force, 465 million workers are there in the entire labor force, and amongst them around 91% were informal workers in 2017 and 18 statistics. So this circular urban migrants perform essential labor and provide services. Hence this issue has implications not just for migrants, but also it is an issue which talks about macroeconomic issues like livelihoods, the food security aspect, agriculture, and also the social security net. So this issue requires a multifaceted, multidimensional understanding and analysis to solve this problem. So what is the existing legislation and what is the proposed legislation? Let us have a look at the existing one. So there is an Interstate Migrant Workmen Act of 1979. However, even though this act is there for just for the sake of it, there is no central registry of migrant workers. Now, in the case of lockdown, when there was movement of workers from one state to another, there was this issue of distribution of various food grains and other benefits. Now, the biggest problem at that particular point of time was to identify who these migrant workers were. The reason is there is no database which was mandated as per this law. The Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code of 2019 is the proposed new legislation. So this code seeks to promote the welfare of migrant workers and legal protection of their rights. The code seeks to merge 13 labor laws, including the Interstate Migrant Workmen Act, into a single law. So another important step in this direction to address the plight of migrant workers is the One Nation, One Ration Card. So this addresses the problem of ration card portability. That is, for example, if a migrant worker is from Bihar and is working in Telangana, there has been a problem previously where he could not avail the food security benefits given out in the state of Telangana because he hails from Bihar. Only his family, which is present in Bihar, would be getting those benefits. Now that ration card portability issue will be solved through this One Nation, One Ration Card. The move is expected to benefit nearly 670 million workers, and it will be completed by March 2021. Now, in the wake of this pandemic, there have been certain packages for migrant workers as well. Now let us have a look at that package. So the first one is that there is a provision of 30,000 crores through NABARD in addition to the already existing 90,000 crores allocation. So this is for the Rabi harvest and post-harvest Rabi related work for small and marginal farmers. Secondly, we have 2 lakh crores concessional credit which will be provided to 2 crore farmers across the country. Now the third scheme involves 11,000 crores allocation for the urban poor, which includes the migrant workers as well. And this is to ensure that they build their homes, to ensure housing for the homeless. In these home projects, housing projects, several government funded housing projects in major cities would be developed into affordable renting housing complexes on PPP mode. The center also announced that it would extend the free grains for 2 more months. Despite all these, there are certain lacunae which needs to be addressed as soon as possible. Now, 3 policy changes were suggested in this article. Let us have a look at them one by one. The first one, there should be an implementation of the report of Task Force on Migration which took place in 2017. This was submitted in 2017 and no action was taken till now. So, second one is about the integrated child development services. So, this program should be extended even to the migrant women and children. Third one is about extending the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan to migrant children. The next set of action is to build the resilience of the financial system and to ensure that skilling of workers happens. And lastly, we have to expand the base of JAM Trinity, Jandan, Aadhaar and Mobile to ensure that the issues and challenges of migrant workers can be handled effectively through the use of information and communication technology. So, this is the way in which we have to address the migrant crisis according to this author. That is the gist of this article. The next article is very important and it is titled A Perfect Storm from the Indian Express. So, this article is in the context of the importance of mental health in our country. The sad demise of actor Sushant Singh Rajput has brought the issue into limelight and debate in social media as well. So, in the context of this pandemic, this article refers to the historic opportunity that COVID has given to us to break the stigma and build healthcare infrastructure in our country. Now, let us have a look at the issue. To begin with, what do you understand by the concept of mental health? So, whenever we talk about mental health, people in India especially look at it as a issue of mental stability, but mental health is much beyond that. According to World Health Organization, it is defined as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential. He can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively, can work in a very peaceful manner and contribute to his or her community. This is what mental health means according to the WHO definition. But the very understanding of mental health is very different in our country, and that is exactly why we have to talk about it. Importance of mental health can be emphasized because if you take the look at World Health Organization's own statistics, nearly 8 lakh people die by suicide every year, making it one of the principal cause of death among people in the age group of 15 to 25 years. Now, also the National Mental Health Survey of India, which took place in 2016, there was a prevalence of 7.3% of mental disorders in the age group of 13 to 17 years, which is quite serious. So, suicide is a global public health problem that demands focused attention from all the actors related to the field of mental health, including those in scientific and professional organizations. So, the underlying problem is this: the low proportion of mental health workers in India cannot be highlighted at any other point of time than this. If you take a look at psychiatrists, there are only 0.3 psychiatrists for every 1 lakh population, 0.12% or 0.12 nurses for every 1 lakh population. Psychologist is even less, 0.07, and social workers in mental health domain again 0.07. So, this low financial resource allocation and human capital that is required to address this storm of mental health brings us to the importance that we have to give to this particular segment of healthcare in our country. It is not just the physical infrastructure that is required, even the manpower, behavior, everything should be modified when we are talking about mental health. Of late, a lot of celebrities are coming out and addressing this issue of mental health and thereby increasing the awareness. But though there have been significant interventions in the form of telemedicine, nothing can actually replace a proper therapy and infrastructure that is required to handle this problem. These initiatives should obviously rely on specialists, but these specialists are very scarce in number, and the country's digital divide will only compound the problem. Therefore, telemedicine cannot always address this problem and break the stigma. So obviously there is no one size fits all approach when we are talking about mental health problems, and that makes the problem even more complicated. So there are certain ground rules that we have to remember, that one should be aware of mental health as much as the physical health. So two, when we are sharing one mental health story, it is not only a powerful way to feel better, but it is also the most effective strategy to reduce stigma. If you take the example of Deepika Padukone, the actress who came out and shared a story of depression, what she has actually done is destigmatize this issue of mental health. And we are not just talking about mental health as a problem of healthcare sector alone. It has a long lasting impact on Indian economy as well. Deaths of despair. This is the term coined by Nobel Prize winning economist Angus Deaton. So he used this term to document the reason for the reduction of life expectancy of Americans in the great global financial crisis of 2008. So he observed that because of the economic reasons, suicide and substance abuse has become so common in American society. Now even in Indian society, we are witnessing this trend in the present pandemic. A lot of people have been getting used to substance abuse to get away from the hopelessness that this pandemic is creating, and by all accounts the economic recession facing India will be incomparably greater than what America has seen in 2008. So this brings us to the point of creating the healthcare infrastructure required for our mental health care. So there cannot be a better opportunity to encourage this culture of destigmatizing mental health and bringing about a ecosystem that nurtures mental health as a component of well-being of human beings. That is the gist of this article.